Greetings, I am Tom Earl. On this week's episode, I have a conversation with the brilliant journalist, fashionista, and my good friend, Intisar Seraaj. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the celebration. As you know, this is my year of courage. We know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you are here sharing your greatest gift, your time and attention, means the absolute world to me. I'm super hyped for this interview because it's going to be a conversation with the legendary Intisar Seraaj.
What's up? Woo!
That should give y'all a little indication of the kind of energy that's going to be going on here today. How you doing today, Intisar? Salams.
Walaikum assalam. I'm great because today I'm off, and so I've had a fantastic morning.
Hey, you normally work Saturdays otherwise?
Yeah. I mean, I work a lot, so yeah. And then the hours are weird. Like, I'll have just like one day off, and maybe sometimes 2 days off in a row. Because I work in like retail right now. Besides my other things, yeah.
Okay. Well, let me break down. Can I give folks a little intro to you?
Yeah.
I'm going to be your hype person. Okay.
Yeah.
The legendary Intisar Seraaj is a journalist and fashionista from Montgomery, Alabama. She currently lives in Atlanta, working as a bomb and brilliant freelance writer and a powerful and styling personal stylist. She enjoys hot tea, cuddling, and traveling. Intisar graduated with a master's in journalism from the University of Southern California, but style is in her DNA, with origins from her mother and maternal grandmother. She has amazing articles that have been published by the likes of CNN, Mississippi Today, and most importantly, TimeOut.com. How'd I do?
That was wonderful.
What can a bio cover? What if you really knew me, you'd know that.
Wait, you're asking me to tell people about you or
No, you.
About the bio. If you really knew me, you'd know that I love to dance.
Hey.
And that if I hear some crunk music and I feel like you're not going to be judgmental, like we can get it popping anywhere, out in the street, out in the movie theater, wherever we are. Yeah.
Awesome. So it's I know you're a journalist. What are the kind of things that you're passionate about writing about covering? What brought you to journalism? That whole thing.
Okay. Well, what brought me to journalism was I actually have a passion for acting also. I guess that's something you also didn't get in my bio, but I've been like acting since I was 8. And I was thinking like, oh, I want to be an actress, but and poet. That was like my dream. I remember like high school year, we had to do a play, and like everyone in our theater program went up and said like their dream job or dream career, whatever, their passion. And so I was like, I'm going to be an actress and a poet. And but then when college came around, I was talking to my dad, and of course he's always supported me in whatever I wanted to do. So he's like, yeah, go do acting. But I decided, I was like, I don't see anybody that looks like me, like with a hijab, and I can't do, like, I'm not going to take off my scarf for a role, and I'm not going to be able to do, like, sex scenes or kissing scenes or whatever because of my religion. So I'm just like, well, I might as well. And it's not like I'm overseas, like in a Muslim country where they might have hijabi actresses, which I actually don't see that over there either. But anyway, so I was like, I'm going to focus on my other strength, which is writing. And I mean, I think you can bring, I guess, importance to the world through acting too, but I think that I have a better chance of doing something magical for the world through my writing. But I still want to like be able to do my acting on the side through community theater or something. And even like, I remember, sophomore year of college, I did a theater elective, and the teacher was like, my professor was like, why aren't you actually doing this as a major? But I was like, do you see this? they're gonna typecast me, and they typecast everybody else already, and like my roles are gonna be very limited. It's already super difficult in Hollywood. It's gonna be even more difficult for me. So I was like, nah. I'll do this for fun. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. There's so much depth and questions that I have to follow up with.
Oh, I didn't even say what I'm passionate about writing about, though.
There it is. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So I'm passionate about writing about people. Okay. Hey. So I like to just like focus on one person and really like get the details of who they are. Like I wrote this, I won an award when I was at USC, like the LA Press Club Award, which is kind of like a big deal. So for this profile that I wrote on a dentist student, because he was the only African-American dental student in the endodontics program, which is like all about root canals and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but like I even like talked about the type of shoes he wore and like how he dressed and down to his dimples. And he said it made his mom cry and his girlfriend was like super ecstatic. And I guess like, yeah, they were really happy with it. So that made me happy to like be able to, cause you know, when you die, like, that's another thing that I'm passionate about. Like I want to do obituaries, like long form obituaries, because celebrities get those long obituaries, but regular people don't. And I want to do that for regular people because I can't stand when I go to a funeral and it's like a paragraph or a little page and it's just like, they graduated from here, they did this as their job, they left behind these kids. But okay, that doesn't tell you anything about who they are. And I feel like that I'm able to do that through my writing. And that's what I want to like have for people, because even, you know, if a video doesn't play anymore, like who knows, we'll have like virtual stuff and like your CDs or, you know, like VHS, where that go. So all that stuff may be obsolete one day. So, but writing words are forever. And so I would like to bring that home for people.
That's powerful. So, you know, now we got a little intro going. Just want to let folks know that after I did the episode with Claudia, where rather than an interview, we had a conversation, I got a lot of feedback that people really enjoyed that. And so I've been since then thinking of how can we do that again? But it takes a special person to do that with. And so since you're an amazing writer, journalist, and really good friend, you know, I sent you a text, was like, hey, you want to do a conversation with me? And so letting folks know right away, this is going to be one of those episodes where instead of me just doing a straight interview, I will actually answer questions and we'll go back and forth, just like we're chilling one of those times where you come over for dinner.
Yeah. Only if we had the food.
Exactly. Well, we can't. Even if I had it right now, I just have to stare at it.
Right. How sad. Yeah, I was just making some lasagna before I got on the call with you, and I was just like, "Oh, God, give me the strength to like not die while I'm smelling all these delicious fumes." I'm really excited to eat that later.
Well, let's start there. What does Ramadan mean to you?
Ramadan means getting closer to your creator and higher power. Because even if you're not Muslim, like, I mean, because I've invited my friends to participate in Ramadan with me. And I've had a few, I talked with them and we set out some goals. Like I made Ramadan goals, which I can share with you. And then I helped some of my friends that wanted to participate in Ramadan if they like didn't want to fast. I've had like my best friends fast with me before, but my other friends, they're just like coming into Ramadan this year. So we just made a list of goals that would bring them into being a better person and then would help them to getting closer to God. And so, yeah, you definitely want to Ramadan is about getting closer, like centered, closer to Allah, and creating good habits and like making obsolete some of your bad habits, if not all, which I mean, that's a lot, but it takes 21 days or more to create a new habit. And Ramadan is about 29 to 30 days, depending on the moon. And so, yeah, you make you're not supposed to do certain things, you know, during Ramadan, but there's other things like that may be okay that you do. I don't know. If you're like obsessed with sugar or something, maybe cut out processed sugar during Ramadan. And that's like, you create a healthier habit for yourself, you know, in the long run. And maybe that'll clear your mind also. But anyway, so yeah, that's what that means to me. Very long answer.
It's all good. What are some things you're curious about?
Wait, curious about?
Yeah, that you would like us to discuss.
Tom, like, since you've been a Muslim, like, what have been some of your toughest Ramadan situations?
Toughest. Okay, here's two examples. One, I was at a national poetry slam where my whole team went to Charlotte. And I know you're traveling, you're allowed to break your fast, but
Mm.
I never do. I rarely do because
You
it's
don't want
just
to make up the day.
exactly. It's so much easier to fast with like millions of people in solidarity.
Yeah.
And so we got there and there was tons of downtime. And so I was kind of bored. So I was like, we need to go buy a book. And so my whole team and I were lugging around, what's the main town there? Oh, yeah, Charlotte. Charlotte's the main town. Looking for a bookstore. And we finally found one. And I mean, this is like a half hour, 45 minutes in. We finally find a bookstore and it's a Christian bookstore.
Oh.
And they're like, you are going to buy something because you made us go all around town. And I just remember being so thirsty and hungry by the end. So, and I think all of them revolve around there is when you do a lot of physical exertion.
Yes.
You feel thirsty. Thirst is the thing that comes first. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've been dehydrated like twice during Ramadan before and actually passed out.
Wow.
2 consecutive Ramadans in a row. Yeah, and had to go to like urgent care and get a little IV. Yeah, it was a man. It was because when I was in college and it was like still summer when we were fasting, and it was just so hot and me walking around. So yeah, I definitely passed out twice. But this year I was like, I'm gonna get extra hydrated, so I've been drinking coconut water and adding lemon to my regular water. So yeah, I'm good so far. I mean, I'm so thirsty during the day, but yeah, that's the first thing that I break my fast with is coconut water. And I actually don't like the taste, but I'm still drinking it because I know it's good for me.
Have you heard of Soylent?
No, what's that?
It's a meal replacement drink, and each one is 400 calories.
But it's made from soy?
I don't think so. I think they just called it that. But it has all the like minerals and vitamins and stuff you need. So
kind of like Pediasure? Is that what those are called?
I'm not sure.
Or whatever it's called.
But I've been starting my morning with those where I'll drink 2 of them. So it's just 800 calories in the morning and it's liquid. So it keeps me hydrated and relatively full until about 3:00. And then I start to feel it.
That 3:00, I've heard that. Like I met a sister in the Nation of Islam when I was at work, which is like really interesting. This is only my like second person that I've met in the Nation. Instead of like in passing where they just like say hey to you, or you see like one of the guys wearing a bow tie. But this is like the second conversation that I've had like with the person in the Nation of Islam. But I found out they actually fast during Ramadan too. And she said, yeah, she gets hungry around 3. But she said that morning she just had like kale and some water.
Oh my God.
No, that's not enough, but that's what But I've been eating oatmeal, although once again, I hate oatmeal, but it keeps me pretty full for the day. So yeah, during Ramadan, like I really do sacrifice a lot. Things that I like to eat, like I'm drinking coconut water and eating oatmeal, although I don't like them because it's helpful. Yeah.
So what you had kind of started to talk about the things that you write about, but what are the kind of stories that you want to tell? You know, I know that you identify as a storyteller. So what are some of the stories you want to tell?
I guess besides like people's actual stories, like even helping them with their autobiographies, I would do that. I want to do more social justice, like race pieces. And I have a mentor that does stuff like that, so I need to follow him more, I guess, and talk to him more about this and get started on that. I guess I just need the opportunity or something. I don't really want to I don't like to focus like on things that are hot in the news because I mean like everyone's writing about that, right? Like you're gonna hear about it anyway. So I like to find special stories like out in the community. So if I could find something like that, but related to social justice or race, but like and focus it from a personal level, then that would be something that I would like to do.
Mm.
Yeah. What do you like to write about, Tom?
Similar. I like to, especially the celebration, I like to use it as a platform to but to elevate or give space for women of color to tell their stories and to provide resources and inspiration and those kind of stories. Especially because in the podcast world and in the leadership development world, it's like the rest of society, largely dominated by white straight guys, interviewing other white straight guys, bringing other white straight guys to their stage. And then their audience is kind of diverse. And they're like, oh, we're so diverse. So I kind of trying to not.
Tom, when was it in your life that you just reached that like woke point in your life? You feel me? Like you were just like, yes, POCs and social justice and activism, like, because you probably weren't like this your whole life, right? So when did that come about?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to say that I think that it's always a evolution and journey, and that there's areas that I don't know if I'm woke in, or it's a ongoing thing. So I don't think I've reached an enlightenment or anything. But I think little bits at a time. That when I was younger, I always wanted to make the world a better place. My mom was a social worker. My dad was an entrepreneur. So they were both working to do that.
My family's in social work, right?
What'd you say?
I said, my family our business is in social work, right?
Yeah, with the foster care system, right?
Yes. Look, Tom, we're more related now.
And foster care is so important, just to go off on a tangent.
Yes.
There was because that's one of the jobs that I was doing out here, was working with young kids who are removed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there's a study out of Chicago where it's like 80 or 85% of young people who have gone through the foster care system have at one time in their life are not experienced or been incarcerated as an adult.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, important work you're doing. I think music has a lot to do with it. When I was in high school, I got into political punk rock. And so I really was into like anti-war stuff. It's when the US was invading Iraq for the second time. And so I had started a website that was against the war in Iraq. And
wow. You started a whole website?
I did.
Wow. That is what I'm talking about.
I remember one of my teachers it was a required resource for one of her classes, and I was super proud of that. But in high school, I had started to get the race and class component, but I did not in any way, I would say, have the sexism and misogyny and that kind of component. And so it really wasn't intersectional. It was just specifically racism and classism. And then I started to listen to like Dead Prez and Tupac, and I would research things they'd reference. Like in one Dead Prez song, they talk about Fred Hampton. So I looked up who's Fred Hampton and learned about the Black Panthers and started reading books like that, Mumia Abdul-Jamal's book. And then I switched my major to Africology, and some schools call it Black Studies. And that was really where it all went down, because that's where before all my teachers and
I've never heard that, Africology. That's dope.
They called it that because they took a global perspective rather than just studying from the United States. They believed in, the African diaspora. So,
absolutely.
And that's why they call the Africology as opposed to just like Black Studies. Like some teachers just reject. What'd you say?
We should go back to that.
Okay.
Calling it that. Yeah.
We'll bookmark it. So
I'm saying like education system should go back to calling it that.
Instead of Black Studies or Africana Studies or African American Studies?
Yes.
How come?
Just because, it's already setting a precedent that, and like getting students to understand that, yes, we all came from Africa, and that's where we're going to start and take our way. Because, you can't talk about the present without talking about the past, or understand your present without talking about the past. So Black history, like we have to start where we started from, which is Africa.
Yeah, agreed. And, that historical context really gave me self-awareness and really started to recognize my participation in sexism and homophobia
That's
And
what I was going to ask you too. Like when you started become like on your enlightenment journey, like have you ever thought back like, damn, I did some messed up shit that one time, or like, you know, and then how did you kind of like atone for that within yourself? Like,
yeah, especially when I started to work with young people, high school students around ending discrimination. And we would do workshops. I would do workshops with young men and young boys and teens, middle school kids about gender and sexism and consent. And, we'd say like, what have y'all learned about sex and consent? And it was things like, if you don't ask her, she can't say no. Get her drunk and she'll loosen up. And things like, if she said yes to your friends, then it's a yes for you.
oh no.
If she's had sex with you once, then it should be she'll always have sex with you. And the things I heard them say were the exact same things me and my peers were taught and believed. And so, I've been doing this now for 10 years. And so year after year, you hear the exact same thing from the kids. And then you bring those young men into the room with the women, and then they have to sit there in silence and listen to the women talk about their experience. And it's even at that young age of, if men are believing this, if we as young men are believing this and then acting upon it, of course, the other side of the story is going to be what we hear now, Me Too.
Yeah.
And so to see my behavior reflected in what they're saying and to own that, whereas people thought I was a super nice guy and I was working to make the world a better place, it makes sense how we have these adults who are activists that when it comes out have been involved in rape culture and are the reasons for why people have to say Me Too. So, that was a big one for me, owning that, like when I was young and growing up, the damages I caused from my masculinity and misogyny.
Did you ever like break down and cry one time just thinking about it?
Of course. I mean, when you're there, especially in those workshops, and like these young kids are talking about these things and people are talking about, like, I was, trigger warning for people listening. Like they talk about the abuse they've gone through. And then you have, when the men go or the young boys go, then we talk about like questions like, because this is an activity that Community Tampa Bay does, where it's stand up, sit down. So they'll say to the men, stand up if you've ever been hit by a male role model because you were crying, or stand up if you've ever seen a male you care about hit another woman, or stand up if you ever lied about having sex because you didn't want to be made fun of. And you see how like men and young boys who engage in misogyny and sexism, like we're molded and we're taught. There's a system that creates that. And to have it laid bare, like we're all crying, Yeah. Then you get a choice. Do you want to continue to live like this or not?
That was really heavy.
It is. But it's the conversations we need to have. And I think a lot of people don't want to own their business, their shit, because for one, they want to maintain power or they're afraid of shame and all the things that come with accountability. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Well, you said what?
No, I was gonna ask you what your thoughts are, but you were going anyways. Go for it.
Oh yeah. So transitioning to something a little bit happier and lighter. That was on my mind. I feel like we should discuss your obsession with Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay. What do you want to talk about it?
I feel like I always see you creating collages with her. And you have like magazine covers of her in the house, right? So yeah, what do you love about her? Like, what is so interesting about Lupita to you? I mean, I love her too, but Tom, you took it to the next level.
Well, I think, when it comes to art or images that we put on our wall, specifically that it's important to surround yourself with things that bring you joy or make you happy or tell a story or represent, a vision of the world that you have. And so, if we all go back to 2014 when she won her Oscar, that joy that really went on. That's a woman with, especially a woman with dark skin, to be shown this kind of love and this representation. Mm-hmm. It was like a contagious time period where I think all of us caught that bug. And I think a large part of it too was a person I was in a relationship with at the time. It was something we bonded over. Like I both had this love for Lupita, and I'd buy her a magazine cover and she'd be like, feel so affirmed by it. And then she'd like buy me one. And it was like this thing we bonded over. So I think that really helped create that love. You know what I mean? That it carried through it. So she's brilliant. I love listening to her interviews and hearing her talk about storytelling and the impact that she recognizes that she has in the world, and her activism. I feel like anytime she's given a mic, she's using it to encourage and empower women of color and make the world a better place. All of that, and she's super beautiful. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, okay, you're in LA, which is like definitely a place where she could pop up out of anywhere. What would you do if you met her in person? Would you just faint?
Well, I was like about as far away from her as maybe this wall is behind me. So when she premiered the Queen of Katwa, the chess movie that she was in, Adora and I went to her premiere. We went to the screening. Afterwards was a Q&A panel with her and with other cast members. And so we were front row and she was just like this close. And I was just nervous and fangirling. And I was like hiding underneath Adora. And you weren't supposed to record. And Adora asked her a question. And so I recorded that. And then some old white guy was super salty that I recorded. So he went and told the organizer, and they cornered me afterwards and were like, delete it from your phone right now. And so we went outside.
I wish you had like Facebook Lived it, or like, like sent it to Facebook real quick before, like while, during the Q&As before he could corner you. Dang.
Adora went in the parking lot though and talked mad smack to him.
I want to see Adora talking smack, because she's always so lovely when I'm around her. But I want to see the dirty side of Adora.
But if we like met in person and she's like, hey, Tom, I think I would just like faint or start crying or I need it in increments.
Like just give you a look.
Yeah.
Then
or like an email.
Next time tap you on the shoulder or something.
A wink.
Then go for, yes. A wink. Hilarious. I don't think there's anyone that I'm like really that obsessed with in Hollywood. Who do I love right now? That is a very good question. I don't know. I mean, there's so many people to look up to, and to admire, but I'm not like thinking of just one person that I really, really, truly love right now. Maybe if you ask my sisters, they would like say somebody, and then I'd be like, oh yeah. I don't know.
Here's something I'm curious about. I went to your birthday party that you had here just before you left.
Yeah.
And you'd only been here for a year, and yet it was like 50 people at your birthday party. And none of them were just casual acquaintances. They were all people who had something intimate and personal that they appreciated about you. Mm-hmm. How do you go, or how does a person go about building those kind of relationships? How do you do that?
I mean, people like act like they have no time, you know what I mean? And they're just so busy, which, yeah, we are, but you make time for what you want to make time for. And even like when you are busy, I mean, you can be busy with somebody else, like, so I'd be in study groups or in our edit bays, like editing videos together and bouncing ideas off of one another. And always, like, I don't know if you're sitting down waiting for a class to start or a presentation or something, because this was, during grad school. So, while you're waiting on something, like just have a little combo with somebody. And then like when someone presents their work, have an actual interest in it. If you, think that person is interesting and nice or whatever, and you do want to like, have a relationship with them. And then, social media also like just, well, I mean, that's not like real relationship wise. I guess how I do it is just like actually talking to people and just being genuine with them, and like they see how I act genuinely with everybody. And I mean, some people, I stayed away from, but was still nice to them. But I mean, of course, those people weren't at my party. So everyone, at my party was a real genuine connection. But like, I don't know. I'm just a very social person. And like, I really do care about people. Just like in my writing, like I like to focus on one person at a time. People just, I mean, that's how I take my relationships, like really get to know that person and be genuine and like get to know their partner or what they're interested in, what they're struggling in. Because we're all human beings. We're all like very similar and all have love and hate and struggle and pain or whatever. So, I mean, and I guess my thing is I'm not afraid to let people in. Like people say I have like a mysterious air about me sometimes, whatever. And then also I guess my like energy, I'm an extrovert. I'm like high energy. But I'm also like I can be chill though. And if there's like a lot of high energy people in the room, then I kind of fall back. Because I don't like to compete with other people like that. So it's like it's cool. Like I'm gonna be chill, let you have it. But yeah, so I guess all that, and people see that and they want to get to know me too. But yeah, I'm not afraid to let people in and let them know about me. Like, I don't know, what's an example? Like, yeah, I've been divorced and they're just like, oh, what? That's so personal. Like, I can't believe you would tell me that. Like, but yeah, okay, this is life. I'm a human being. We all went through crap. So it's okay. Like, you can get to know me because I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me, just being genuine. Like, God, just let down the wall. You know what I mean? That's all I do.
How did you come to that place though, where you're willing to be so vulnerable? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess I don't know if it has anything to do with me being a sensitive person, and then also my mom. Like, I guess I get this from my mom. Like, both my parents are very social people, but my mom is more like she has like the real like long-term personal connections, I would say, and so I get that from her. Like, just knowing that fact, I guess, knowing that we all are people and that no one is better than, the next person. That's something, from you learn from Islam also. And just, yeah, the whole people thing, like that everyone has their shit. Everyone has something to hide. Everyone has something to be embarrassed about, but like, get over it. I don't know. Yeah. Because, I mean, once I tell you something about me, you're going to be like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I'm not so, like, if she can tell me her crap, then, why am I holding on to mine? Like, and obviously she trusts me enough, to let me know about hers. So, yeah, I can let her know about mine. And there'll be, like, no judgment. And, yeah. And I guess as also a journalist, like, having to get down to the root of a person, like I said, like, for the types of pieces that I like to write, like people have to let me in, so I know how to really portray them well. And so me starting off being vulnerable with somebody else lets them be vulnerable with me. It lets me portray them better in my writing, lets me be a better writer, let them have a better article, and piece story about them. So yeah, it just starts with self, I guess. Just like how people say, or how people say like I'm a reflection of you, or that's like something Muslims say too, or be the change you want to see in the world. You know what I mean? Like, so if you want to get that from people, you have to give that out as well. Yeah.
That's powerful. Appreciate that. So you heard me talk about in the beginning that this is my year of courage. Mm-hmm. And I know that
a year of kindness to myself.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
So I know you need to go get back with your cousins. So
I feel like I don't hear them calling, and this is getting interesting. I'm gonna give you like 15 more minutes.
Yes. I was betting that. I'm like, I bet she's gonna be having such a good time if she's gonna hang out, because it sounds long.
You know me too well, Tom.
Let's talk about courage and kindness then.
Yes.
So,
because I feel like being kind to yourself is courageous, right? And being courageous can be kind if you're doing it for others, I guess. Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about what brought about your year of kindness.
Okay, so last year, that was when I was in grad school, and I went into grad school like right just to get like my life together, because that's when I was going through my divorce. And I was like, and my eldest sister, she's like, we call her bossy, whatever, but like she like, I mean, if we ask her, she'll plan our lives for us, basically. So I'm like, girl, what am I gonna do like to get my life in order? She's like, you're gonna better yourself so you can be like, bam, I have my master's degree now and I'm better without you. Bye. And my dad's the only one in our family with his master's degree, but now I am too. And so, and both my sisters wanted to go get their master's degree, but then they started a family. So yeah, that was like, I'm doing it for everybody, you know, taking one for the team. And like, yes, this is for everyone, for the culture, for the people, for the family. So yeah, that's what I did. And just like, I was in therapy that year too. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. Everyone needs therapy, I feel. But anyway, so yeah, I guess like in therapy, like, and then like through the divorce, just all that crap, like I have to take time out to be kind to myself, because I'm like, I get this from my mom being very generous to other people and not thinking about myself first. Like, I mean, I can be a little conceited, but self-care, that's a whole nother thing though. So, and I feel like, and my mom's always telling me that. And so I felt like that's something I should do. Like, and you know, when your parents are getting older, you're like, oh my God, I really need to start listening to them before they're gone. And like, I can't even get their advice anymore. So my mom was always telling me to be kind to myself and be more gentle with myself. And that's something everyone needs to do, you know, like how everyone's their worst critic, you know, but, even like on the physical side, I can be like a little rough. Like I'm like outdoorsy and like I'm rough with my like material things. Like I break myself a lot, not a lot, but anyway, so yeah, being kind to myself, that's how I came to that. And of course, boy issues stemming from the divorce, of course, but little relationship things during grad school too. And like none of my friends liked any of these guys. So yeah, that's another thing, being kind to myself with like the relationships that I choose, even friendships, like, yeah, being kind to myself, thinking about that and not just thinking about giving to others like, oh, they need me, although they're not good for me, you know?
Yeah. Kindness is, I find to be so important, especially in building relationships. And,
Yes.
you know, I do a lot of facilitation or spaces where I'm trying to build a relationship quickly and kind of inspire people to be brave. And I find that kindness is one of the best tools in doing that, of just affirming and building people up. And I really find that, like you said, kindness to yourself, that one of the people that we judge the most is ourselves. Where we're judging ourselves for how we're spending our time, that we're not doing enough, that what we did do isn't good enough, that not enough people saw it, that look at what they're doing and I'm not doing, or I'm this old, I should be doing this by then, or
but totally like skipping over all that you have accomplished and all that you like are and all the steps. Okay, for an example, like high school year, senior year, whatever, graduation, like my graduation party. My eldest sister, like, she does not show emotion a lot. Like, it's a thing. And so, but she broke down crying at my graduation dinner. And I was just like, who is this person? But she was just like, she's just been through so much. And I just don't know how she got through it. And here she is. And I'm like, damn, did I go through that much? And I'm like thinking like, oh, wow. Like, okay, I have like done some stuff and I need to remember that, because yeah, you just kind of just like, oh, what's the next step? Damn, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing it fast enough. You know, but other people are seeing you too, and they're like so proud of you. They're moved to tears when they're usually not showing emotion like this, and you have to step back and be like, wow, okay.
No, I relate to that. And especially, you know, a lot of the work I do is social media based. And with social media, it always feels like it resets the next day. So you put out content that day, and maybe I'm putting out, by the end of the day, 10 pieces of content and trying to get engagement on all of them. And I can quickly find myself falling into the, measuring life by likes and shares. Whereas when I really remind myself that first and foremost, I'm doing it because I enjoy creating.
Yes.
Secondly, I'm just hoping it impacts one person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really have to be kind to myself and giving myself a break and enjoying the journey. And, I've really been working on that, the self-judgment, that voice that's just kind of like sometimes, when the refrigerator's on and then the humming stops and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize that was bothering me. I think that's what self-judgment is.
Oh, wow.
These little moments of clarity where I notice it going away and I feel, oh, that's what clarity, that's what joy, that's what being in the moment feels like. I want that more and more and more. And for instance, I was looking at one of my friends, it was their birthday. So I looked at their Instagram and they had maybe 102 followers and maybe each picture had like 4 likes, but each picture was them super excited with their family or them hiking in the mountains, or it was just them literally living their joyful life. And there was no strategy or tactics or anything to it. And there's this moment I had where I was thinking, I want a piece of that. Where, I'm not as ambitious. I'm not saying they're not ambitious, but that I'm putting a little more of my ambition into just living a Saturday where I'm not thinking at all about developing my business or my brand or anything. And so I think that.
Yeah, I know you start putting energy into doing nothing, right?
Exactly.
And just like being happy with like just, I don't know, being in the moment and like being alive,
Exactly. And that to me takes courage. And that's why it's my year of courage, because I knew to do that, I was going to need to be courageous, to trust that what if you are kind to yourself and you prioritize your feelings over being right, or your feelings over success and feeling good, like at the beginning of Beyonce's album, what's your goal in life? To be happy. You know what I'm talking about?
No, you did not.
Miss Third Ward. I think it says, what is your aspirations? My aspirations are to be happy. But it comes pretty hard. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, of course. And speaking of Beyonce, did you see that thing, the Church of Beyonce?
I did. I didn't read in detail, but I just saw there was a Church of Beyonce.
Well, I just watched the video on it, but I was like, wow, y'all are really taking this fandom to the next level. But I get it because, they were talking about, well, you said you read the article, right?
No, I just saw it. I didn't read it.
Oh, okay. Well, on the video I watched about it, they were just saying, it's a way to, empower Black women and, also people that have been left out of the church, like gays and, or even people of color that feel like, I don't know, some churches are too white or something, it's a place for everyone to be accepted and to feel empowered, especially, people of color and women and, so, but because they would use the lyrics as kind of preaching, but then they would also bring some more general scripture into it, I think. But then all of the how they sing hymns, it's just Beyonce songs, but it's the uplifting songs. Her songs are uplifting.
Yes.
So yeah, I get it. Yes. But I feel like we can take from each other's year, what do they call it? Our themes for the year. So, but with being kind to myself, I need to be more courageous. I was thinking about this. I need to speak up more for myself. That's something I'm working on. Because if somebody makes me feel uncomfortable, I'm usually just kind of inward about it, and I'm angry on the inside, or I just hold it in, and I don't really say anything because I don't like confrontation. And I don't really say anything about it, but I need to start speaking up for myself, so that behavior that someone might be exuding does not continue to make me feel uncomfortable.
Well, that's my big thing. Conflict is an opportunity. It is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a neutral moment that can either be an opportunity to harm someone or it's one that can lead to growth. Because we've all had times where we had a disagreement with somebody, and because of the way we worked through it, we actually felt closer to them. And so, then it's deploying tactics that are the most likely for you to have that end result.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like, because I told you I'm a sensitive person, like every time I feel like I'm in a conflict or get in confrontation, I'm like, my anger, like I'll just start crying instead. And God, I don't feel like getting that emotional all the time. Every time I have something to say to somebody, I guess that's what it is.
What would you say though, if you were to get to the heart of it, the most angry about, like when conflict happens?
I guess when someone misunderstands me or something, like, and they think that I've done something in a malicious way to them or something, and they just don't understand that that's not where that was coming from, or that's not what I meant, or well, I know my sister Iman, she tagged me in this thing. She was like, Aries are like, because I'm an Aries, but she's like, Aries are like, if someone says something, like has something alternative to say, they're just like, oh, that was a personal attack. So yeah, also me being sensitive, I guess, like I'm just taking things too personally sometimes. I don't know. So I guess that's me too. That's just for me. And I guess having that opportunity that is not necessarily a confrontation, I guess, just me asking them like, oh, what did you mean by that? Maybe that would actually bring me some more understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah, not taking things personal and knowing it's not about me. And my big thing was not trying to manage other people's emotions for them. So, I wrote down my ingredients of a loving relationship, and at the top of the list is accountability. And so there has to be accountability, that you can hold me accountable, but that I can hold you accountable. So if when I'm holding somebody accountable or bringing something up, if they start to get upset or mad or this, then like I don't manage their emotions anymore. It's like, this is your journey, what you're going through, but there's got to be accountability or it's not a loving relationship. And those are the kind of relationships I want to have.
Wait, could you explain more about accountability?
Which part of it?
So you're saying accountability for your actions, right? That's what you're talking about, right? But in a relationship, but I don't know where I'm confused.
Like I heard you say that, and I heard other people say, and I have said, I don't like conflict. I try to avoid conflict. And usually a lot of times we don't say something is when we're the kind of recipient of what we feel is a conflict against us, or someone's always late, or they say something mean continually, or somebody says something homophobic and you want to confront them, and all these kind of things that, I've had people in my life who are really close to me that when I would confront them about it, they would pretend everything was cool, be like, oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. And then they would just like not talk to me for months. And this is like people really close, you know what I mean? And so I then learned as a young person, a child, that to speak up means pain. That if you tell people how you really feel, or if you tell people that you're hurting, that they will then leave. And so I had kind of started to associate that a loving relationship has an element of pain, that it should be there, that love is kind of swallowing your hurt or your words, or not speaking up for yourself and being the bigger person. I had started to kind of believe this script. And so in my 20s, when I found that I would be in relationships and I would do that and I would do that and I would do that, and I would get so bad that I couldn't even stand it anymore. So then I would just tell them, I can't do this anymore. I'm out of here. And they would be like, where is this coming from? And I'd be like, I can't tell you. And I just was literally unable to speak my truth. And so I wanted to figure out, well, how do I have a loving relationship? And so I had to ask myself, what is love? And I realized it's not this, that a part of it is that when something happens that we need to talk about, we need to be able to work through it. And if the person does then leave, it's not about me. It's about them and their ability to handle conflict. And then if they can't do that, if for one of us to be able to hold each other accountable means the other person is going to leave, then I don't want a relationship with them anyways, because it's not one based in love. And I only want loving relationships. We can be an acquaintance, we can kind of work together, but I'm going to try my best to kind of not be in relationship with you. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
No, this is just like, I have one particular friendship on my mind that I'm just like, I need to call this person because they upset me the other day and I didn't say anything about it. And we need to talk about it.
Although they didn't upset you, nobody can make us feel anything.
Oh, okay, so should I say I was upset about this action that they did? Not that they made me upset, but I did get upset. But
yeah, I chose to get upset, and it's usually because of an unmet need. Conflict is a result of an unmet need.
Yes, and I know exactly what this unmet need is.
But they didn't make you get mad, or, it's still our choice how we react, how we feel. Yeah. People can do things.
But then also, like, I think, like, okay, first I wasn't even, like, upset about it, but then I was talking to somebody about, like, this dinner that we went out to, and this is, like, the situation where this happened or whatever. And they're just like, that didn't sound cool. And I was like, yeah, I didn't feel cool about it, but then I just, like, let it go because it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's not like they cursed me out or something. It was just, like, something that didn't sit right at the moment, and then I let it go. But anyway, but then that just made me upset with this person saying, like, oh, that wasn't cool. And they just, like, put more emphasis on it. But wait, where was I going with this?
Are you invested in the relationship?
Yes.
What I usually do in circumstances like that is I go to the person and say, I really care about you. You mean a lot to me. And there was an exchange that happened. And what my brain is now doing is turning it into this big thing that I know it's not. And it's starting to make up this story about you, which I know is not true, because I know you're a bomb-ass person. But my brain is telling this story. I'm sure you've done this before. So I just want to share with you what the thing was that you said, that my brain's now making up this story that I know is bullshit. So instead of making it up, you get a chance to just kind of share where you were coming from, or to be, to say, oh my God, I didn't even mean it like that, because I know you're cool. But, for me, I think it's good to just get these things out rather than me holding on to it. Is that cool with you if we do that? Yeah, of course. Okay, when you said this, that's the thing. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Or maybe they get really defensive. Like, oh, how can you be? Well, I just want to let you know, just mirror back to you that, because other people might feel this way too. At least for me, when I heard this, I had interpreted it like this. Mm-hmm. And if I have an emotional connection to that, so I felt this. So if you think it's whack, I'm overreacting, I'm stupid. Okay. But just want you to know this is how I felt. And I would imagine that there might be some other people that might feel like that too. And that person might need to go sit on that for like a week. But you've then released the dragon inside of you, so it no longer builds up. You've let it go. And then you got to kind of like bless and release. You know what I mean?
Mm. I love that. And I'm going to do this. But that made me think about where I was going with this again. But like when, Will Smith's like videos on IG or whatever, like he's always saying deep stuff these days, but he was just saying like, nobody can make you happy. But it's kind of like, yes, that's true. But then also when you're putting energy into somebody, like you expect that reciprocation, right? And so I think that's also true though, right? And people can make you happy, but yes, it's not up to them to make you happy. But of course, like a part of you making yourself happy is making that choice to put time and energy into those people that do make you happy, right? So
it's really up to us to decide how we feel, because you can be around somebody, like your best friends could be Oprah, Janelle Monáe, and Serena Williams. Okay. So you're like in, and they're like, I'm paying for everything. I got you. And you could still be miserable. And there is nothing they could do to make you feel happy. So Serena Williams could be your personal trainer. Janelle Monáe could teach you how to express yourself. Oprah can help you build an empire. And you could do it all and still be unhappy. And so there's a point where you have to, within, give yourself your happiness. Otherwise, it's conditional happiness. We're always trying to manipulate the people and the environments around us to create circumstances where we're the most likely to be happy. But freedom and taking personal responsibility of your life is that, like Viktor Frankl, he was in a Nazi concentration camp, realized that the last remaining freedom a person has is our ability to choose our attitude. And so I'm not saying put up with people's bullshit, put up with people's meanness, but knowing that we're responsible. It's up to us.
And I was about to say, though, I think that's probably a part of the reason why I don't usually say things when people like say something to upset me, because I don't want to make that decision to make it a bigger thing. You know what I mean? And I just I'm like, well, okay. So with I guess the issue is like how I feel like I'm pouring love into this person, but I don't think they're reciprocating it as much. So, and I mean like with words of affirmation, that type of thing. So, but I mean, and my sister Iman is always saying like, wow, you're just so confident, but that's because I feed myself those things, you know what I mean? And I guess I know I'm not relying on people for this, but that's why I usually stay quiet, because I'm just kind of like, well, you're being an asshole over there, and I'm going to continue to be amazing over here, and I'm going to let that go. Yeah.
But that's why I asked.
And eventually I forget about these things. It's like, but of course you don't forget how people made you feel. You might forget what they did, but yeah. That in the back of your mind, you're always like, yeah, you have a tendency to make me feel this way.
I'd say two things come up for me. One is that's why I asked, are you invested in the relationship? Because if you are, you're going to keep a little tally of the bullshit they said and how you felt after it happened. And if you continue to swallow your words, go to bed at night thinking, I should have said something, and then you talk yourself out of it. That's going to build up. It always does. And it either releases and you just writing them off, or then starting to make snide comments, or talking about them to other people. And, if you're invested in the relationship, then a loving relationship should have the opportunity for the person to be mirrored, because that's where self-awareness comes from. I am a white guy who, as much as I can, doesn't perpetuate white supremacy, because of all of the people of color who were courageous enough and loved me enough to say, when you say this, you sound like an asshole. And then I had the choice, do I want to continue to do that or not? And the other thing is, though, when you tell the person, they might say, you're overreacting, screw you. And then we got to recognize that people can only love with the tools that they have. And that might be the only way they know how to love. And then we can't train them to love us how we want to be loved. We just get to decide, do we want to be a part of that love or not? And so it might be, but I still think giving them the choice, this is what, when you said this, da, 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 da. And then if they're like, you suck, you get the choice. It's this kind of person you want to be in a relationship with, because it's the best they can do.
Okay, I'm gonna work on this. Touch base with me in about a month.
It's a lifelong journey.
Yes. Tom, is that a new tattoo on your arm?
No, this one right here. I just want to rock and roll. I think I got this when I was 18.
Oh, I just never noticed that.
Yeah. Do you have any tattoos?
Well, you know what? Okay, so this is one of those things that I probably would not want to talk about, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway, because they'll probably find out if I do, right? Anyway, but no, I don't have any tattoos, but I've been thinking about getting my first tattoo. Obviously not during Ramadan, but
on your neck?
Huh?
TomReal.com on your neck?
Okay, you know what? Goodbye. This conversation is over, Tom. You're going crazy. But no, I was thinking about getting this Arabic saying on my shoulder that says the pen is mightier than the sword, for obvious reasons. And then While I'm reading Quran, like I'm always you know how they say, well, Christians say like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? That's what they say. So, but in the Quran is this phrase that always says he or Allah is able to do all things. And I just feel like that's kind of like an equivalent, right? And I'm just always just like so pumped when I read that. Like, yes, he is. Okay. So I'm thinking about getting that on my other shoulder, or maybe like on, you know, like right above one another, those things. And then I kind of want a crescent moon and a star on my wrist. So thinking about those.
Are you hanging out with people who have tattoos right now?
No, I mean like, yeah, all my best friends except for one have tattoos. And no, it's just okay. I have this thing that I'm noticing about myself. Whenever I say that I'm not, like, I'm never gonna do that, I've just ended up doing it.
The whole universe conspires against you.
Yeah. Never say never, y'all, because you will do it. And I testify, okay? Yeah. So now I just said I have never done that. We will see about it. Because the thing that I said I'll never do, which is tattoos, that's what I said I'd never do. I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, I think my 15 minutes are up, right?
I could keep talking to you, but yes. Okay. I should probably go check on my cousins.
Then I have two questions.
Yes.
What to you is courage?
Woo! Well, now courage to me is speaking up for yourself. But courage is just like empowering yourself to do the things that you want to do, the things that you need to do, the things that you know you should do. Yes.
And do you have any courage role models?
Woo! Do I have any courage role models? I'm gonna say my play auntie, one of my mom's like longtime friends, Hamima Shabazz. She's very courageous and just like outspoken, and she's just everything to me. She's a phenomenal woman, for real. And she always says what she needs to say, what she wants to say. She knows how to hold her tongue, though, in some situations. And she's a therapist also, so she's just like really good, tactical at saying certain things. But she's just very courageous in like speaking her mind, though, even in like a way that's not going to upset people. And she's started her own business. She like contracts, making her money, whatever, you know, raising her kids by herself. She's just, yeah, that's a courageous person to me.
I lied. Last one. When you walk this journey of courage and kindness, what is the reward? What is the blessings that come to you?
Well, you attract what you give out, right? You reap what you sow. So I feel like the universe and God will give me those things in return if I'm able to be kind to others. And I guess also like me being kind to myself will also attract others that want to be kind to me, like in reverse. And it'll lead me, I guess, deeper down the path that I want to go to, because you need courage to keep that momentum, keep going. And you also need kindness when you're being patient with yourself. If you need breaks on that path, you need a rest stop. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think it'll just get me closer to my journey and keep me motivated, keep me energized. Yes.
Dope. All right. Well, as we're getting ready here to sign off, did you have a last question you wanted to ask before we head to the sign?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with Red Table Talk with, what is her name? Oh my God. Mrs. Smith. You know what I'm talking about. Jada Pinkett Smith. Thank you.
Okay.
And Willow and their grandma. Well, Willow's grandma and Jada's mom. So have you been watching it?
No, I need to.
You should definitely check it out. It's all on Facebook. Follow Red Table Talk on Facebook. But anyway, so one of the questions they were talking about self-love and just like how you see yourself. And one of the questions I got from viewers were like, what are 3 things you love about yourself? And that was just like so difficult. Even though you see that they are these amazing, accomplished and beautiful women, it was still even hard for them to like come up with those 3 things. But of course, I know you, Tom. I feel like this will be easy for you because you're all about this. And you challenged me on my 25th birthday to say 25 things that I loved about myself. So I feel like this 3 things that you love about yourself will be easy for you, but I want to hear it.
Of course. And you've seen I know you commented on one of my videos where every birthday I share the amount of things. So this year I already named 31.
Okay. Let's just hear 3 of them.
Okay. 3 of them. I love my body, first of all. I love my ability to forgive myself. And I love how I have amazing sheroes and role models in my life.
Yes. And I love that you said I love my body instead of just picking one thing out, from it. And then also when people think about, 3 things I love about myself, they tend to not even go that deep. They just kind of like, I love my eyes, I love my lips, like surface things. So I love that you went deeper with it too.
Thank you. Well, this was a success. This was a lot of fun. If people want to let you know how much they appreciated you, follow you, see your awesome style on the IG, where can they follow you?
They can follow me on Facebook. On Facebook, my name is Genan, Genan.
I'm going to link your Facebook.
Find me in your friends list.
I'm going to link your Facebook because it's really long.
Yes. Sorry. I might change it back to my real name. I changed it to that name when I was working for CNN and I had to reach out to people and they'd be crazy sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I'd be like, they don't need to know my real name. But yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. If you want to follow my style, look up Styled by Seraaj. That's my last name, Seraaj. Or my writing page, like my journalist page on IG, which is IsmeInty, IsmeInty, my nickname. And then you can also follow me. That's it. That's all I want you to be able to follow me on. And you can go visit my websites, which, Tom, if you want to tell them.
I will. And y'all know I already got you. Show notes are tommerl.com/Intisar. That's tommerl.com/INTISAR. tommerl.com/Intisar. Or just head to tommerl.com/blog and scroll down till you see mine and Intisar's beautiful Muslim Ramadan faces glowing and smiling at you. Intisar, this was amazing. It takes a really special and unique and skilled person to be able to have these kind of conversations rather than just an interview. Mm-hmm. And I really
I'm also an interviewee, so
I do know. That's why.
So
what'd you say?
Yeah, I said I'm also an interviewer. So yeah,
that's why I asked you. You're a journalist. This is what you do by trade. And you have a good rapport, and you're brilliant, and I like the questions you ask. So. Really appreciate it. I pray that Allah continues to guide you, to bless you, to protect you, and that your life is even more amazing and happy than you could have ever imagined.
Ameen. And same to you.
Ameen. I like my guests to have the last word. So what is your invitation to my audience to consider, to do, to reflect upon, to be? What is your invitation?
If you don't already have a theme for this year, we're only almost halfway through it, so it's not too late to start. But come up with a theme for yourself. Something that you want to work on all year long that's going to be in the back of your mind. Or join me and Tom on our themes, our journeys of being courageous and being kind to yourself.
Yes, indeed. If you do pick one or you already do have one, tag us at TomRealArtist or tag any of the 300 social media accounts that Intisar has.
Yes, we want to discuss.
All right, folks. Once again, we appreciate your love, your time, your energy, your greatest gift that you can share with us. As always, we're wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you. One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.